We're in for a treat today. It's been a while since I've made a video, but my copy of Aeronautica Imperialis came today, so let's take a look at exactly what you get. So, I was surprised that it comes with this bubble wrap inside to protect the contents. You get 9 bases. So let's take a look. Okay, these are individually wrapped. Let's open one up and have a look. Right, these are the new Aeronautica Bases. So you can change from speed 9 to speed 0. And maximum height is now 5. So these look pretty nice. And that's 1, 2, 3, 9. And they are all the same size. We have the sprues, so I'm actually going to have a look at these in a second and zoom in quite close, so I'll put them to one side. We've got 8 D6s, these are 12mm D6s, they're not the larger, nicer 16mm ones from Warcry, but you know what, I'm not worrying. You've got a recognition chart for the models. So in this set, this is exactly what you get. You get 2 Marauder Bombers, 2 Thunderbolt Fighters, 3 Dakka Jets, and 2 Fighter Bombers. And on the reverse, you got the art card for the cover. Pop that to one side. So I opened up the instructions already. You get the rulebook, which is 37 pages. So you can see that right there. In this rulebook, you get a little bit of background. You get a breakdown of what's in the box. So the map, the counters, how the bases work. Shows you the planes painted up on the map. It describes it as a complete game in a box, providing 2 players with an ideal entry point into what for many will develop into a deeply engaging wargaming hobby. And they're not lying. I'll come to exactly what you get in terms of planes later. You get the rules explained. It breaks down for a complete beginner exactly how it works. Important things here. Game involving 1 or 2 aircraft per side may only take half an hour to play. A larger game involving 12 may take 2 to 3 hours. So there are varying levels of play that you've got. So it talks about the table you're going to play on. So a small dogfight can be played with a small area of engagement, roughly 3 by 3 square. The map in here is 75 centimetres by 75 centimetres apparently, which means that's 2.5 feet by 2.5 feet. If you combine 2, that's 5 feet by 2.5 feet. They're putting out another map at the same time as they're releasing this box, which is definitely 3 by 3. But it talks about complex scenarios using an area of engagement of 8 foot by 4 foot. So the big maps. So Squadron Lists, it breaks down how Squadron Lists work, how the stats work. So everything's got a Squadron List entry. It'll show structure, how many points of damage something can take. Let's zoom in on this. Breaks it down from Marauder Bomber. Structure, how many points of damage it can take. Transport, if it can transport things. Fuel, if it's got limited fuel. Throttle, so that is how much it can accelerate or decelerate. Ace manoeuvres, it can do 1 to 3 on the ace manoeuvres, which I'll show you soon. Handling, that's a roll that you need to beat. Lower number the better. So a high number, 4 plus is medium, means that 50-50 when you try and get an aircraft out of a stall or out of a spin, you need to roll 4 up. The minimum speed it can go, the maximum speed it can go, and the maximum altitude. So the altitude bands now only go up to 5. So it can go as high as it needs to go. Speed goes up to 9, it can only go speed 5. So Dakka jets, Thunderbolts will easily outpace it. The weapons. So a Marauder's got quite a lot of weapons. You've got forward las cannons. They can't fire at short range, can fire at medium, and can fire at long range. So 2+ the damage, unlimited ammo. If you roll a 6, that's extra point of damage. Firing will go through. Dorsal turrets, this turret here, it can fire all round upwards. So it can't fire at things below it. 3 dice close, 2 dice at medium, 5+ the damage, unlimited ammo. Rear turret fires to the rear. 3, 2, 0, 5+ unlimited again. Tail gunner. So when things are tailing you, you can shoot back. And a bomb bay with ammo 3. 8 dice, 2+ the damage to attack the ground. That gives you a breakdown of how the stats on the planes work. Turn summary. You choose manoeuvres, so you plan out your turn in the first phase. Then you roll initiative. Then planes that are tailing do the tailing fire. Then it's movement, firing and end phase. So if you can get behind things, you can effectively get 2 lots of firing in a turn, which for some things is absolutely great. So movement, you adjust your speed using the throttle. You move and manoeuvre, you adjust your altitude. Some things can go speed 0 so they can hover. That is particularly useful if you're over a ground target and you're hitting that. But there's other reasons why you might want to slow down drastically, and that's so that things that are behind you end up in front of you. So move and manoeuvre. You've got the various ace manoeuvres and it shows what you can do. Climbing, if you go in speed 5 to 9 you can go up by 2, if you go in speed 1 to 4 you can go up by 1, but doing so reduces your speed. So the faster you are, the easier it is for you to climb. If you try and go above height 5, you can end up stalling. So I'm going to need to give this a good read. You can dive, you can crash. If you go over your maximum speed, or you end up going over your maximum speed through error, you risk breaking up. On a 1 or 2 you suffer catastrophic damage, and 1 damaging hit, which for some things is enough to kill them. But I think everything in here has got a damage of at least 2. You can dive to increase your speed, and you can use it to decrease your altitude. So climbing decreases speed, increases altitude, and diving is vice versa. So firing, it's all hex based, so 1 to 4 hexes, so that's 2 to 8 inches is short, 5 to 7, so that's 10 to 14 is medium, and 8 to 10, so that's 16 to 20 is long. So some things can't fire at long range, so Dakka guns can't. Some things can't fire at short range, las cannons. It means that if you're an Imperial player, you may well want to use the las cannons on the way in, and then fire your Avenger bolt cannon or your heavy bolters when you close. You can only shoot at 1 enemy aircraft within each fire arc. If you've got something above you in the front arc of your Marauder, you can try hitting it with the las cannons and the dorsal turret if it's at medium range, which is useful. So tailing, when you're directly behind an enemy aircraft, so you're in their rear arc, which means you get to fire in the tailing phase. So you've got to hit and then roll to damage. So autocannons, Dakka guns, things like that are 5+, las cannons are 2+. You hit on 5s normally. You can't shoot something more than 2 levels above you because you're getting 2 -1s. Number of dice you're rolling becomes important as well. Extra damage. When you roll on the damage thing, if you get the extra damage roll, you get an extra point of structure damage on the target. So las cannons have that. That's useful. And tail gunner is return fire if you're getting tailed, which is very useful for bombers. Some things are ground attacks, so you've got to use them against ground targets. Some things are aerial attack, you've got to use them against aerial targets. So end phase, you tidy the battlefield up, you roll to get out of stalls. you check to see who's getting tailed, which reminds you who's getting shot at in the tailing phase. So victory, it's a percentage of the enemy point value for the things they've lost or the things that have been damaged. So if you do something, you get 50% of the points for it. You destroy it 100%. If it leaves the table, you get 25% of the points for it. If it's damaged, 0 if it's undamaged. If you accidentally fly your plane off the table, your opponent scores 100% of the points for it. So scenarios, it explains briefly about scenarios, night fighting and bad weather, talks you through reserves, talks you through some stuff with that, and gives you one example scenario. There will be a hardback book coming out alongside this with more stuff for Orcs, more stuff for Imperial Navy, and I would bet a lot more scenarios. Same as there'll be card packs coming out with ace pilots and upgrades and things like that. This is the starter set. If they put all of this in, this wouldn't be £55, it'd be £100, because you'd get big packs of cards, you'd get a big hardback rulebook, and what they want is a lot of people to play Aeronautica, which is why this is a £55 box set. So Squadron Lists, it gives you 2 Squadron Lists, 1 Imperial Navy. You have upgrades you can take, so you can give them Armoured Cockpit, which gives you a 6+ invulnerable for when you get hit. You can get an Ace Pilot, which gives you a reroll once per game, but you reroll all dice rolled. Ejector Seats, so if your plane gets destroyed on a 5+, your opponent only gets 75% of the victory points for it. Flare and chaff launchers, so when you get shot at by missiles, gives you a 6+ save. Infrared targeting helps you when you've got night fighting or bad weather. So Thunderbolt Fighter is a 21-point fighter with 3 damage points, 2 throttle. It can do ace manoeuvres 1 to 6, minimum speed 2, maximum speed 6, and maximum altitude 5. You've got quad autocannons, that's 2 dice short, 6 dice medium, 0 dice long, 4+ damage, front arc. Twin las cannon, 0 dice short, 2 dice medium, 1 dice long, 2+ damage, unlimited ammo, extra damage 6+. You have 2 sets of hard points that you can use to take Ordnance. Ordnance costs you 2 points each. So Sky Strike missiles for shooting at other aircraft, 2 dice at medium and long range, damage 3 plus ammo 1. So that's pretty useful. And the others are for ground attack. So if you tool it up to attack the ground. Hell Strikes, 2 dice, any range, 3+ damage, extra damage 6+ on ground. Wing Bombs, 4 dice, short range only, 2+ damage, extra damage 5+. So this is a 21-point fighter. If you give it 2 pairs of Sky Strike missiles, it's a 25-point fighter. These are 1 ammo, they're a one-off. So Thunderbolt Fury has a bolt cannon instead. Still 3 structure, still the same. Maximum speed, let's double check. Yep. Handling and manoeuvres are the same, throttle's the same. But you've got an Avenger bolt cannon, 3/7, 4+ damage, so you get an extra dice at short and medium range with your bolt cannons. That's worth 2 more points. You've still got 2 hard points, same options. Marauder Bomber, 23 points again, 5 structure points. It's slower, so it's maximum speed 5 versus maximum speed 6. The handling isn't as good, the manoeuvres aren't as good, it can't accelerate and decelerate as much. Top turret, a rear turret, if you get tailed you can fire back. You've got las cannon at the front, you've got a bomb bay for ground attacks. You can take 4 additional weapons at 2 points each, so you could go to 31 points without any of the other upgrades. Again, Sky Strikes, Hell Strikes and Wing Bombs. Great if you're trying to attack ground targets, because you can lay an awful lot of bombs down in one go. Right, Orc Air War, Dakka Jets. Dakka Jets are 16 points, 2 points of structure, 2 throttle, 1 to 5 manoeuvres, handling 4+, but they're fast. They can't go as high as the Imperial aircraft, but they can go faster. 2 Thunderbolt, 3 faster than a Marauder. They've got quad big shooters, 8-4, 5+ damage. You can buy them for 3 points extra big shooters to give them 10-6, but that takes out one of the hard points. Rockets are a 3-2-1, damage 3+ ammo 1 hard point. Wing bombs, same as for the Imperials. So their rockets are better at close range. So fast. Not as tough, but definitely fast, and they roll more dice up close. Fighter Bomber, 20 points, so still cheaper than a Marauder by 3. 3 structure, 1 throttle, 1-4 manoeuvres. Minimum speed 3, maximum speed 7, minimum speed 3, maximum speed 7, maximum altitude 4. Again, faster, can't go as high, and is tied to having to go faster, 1 more point of minimum speed. Not as many hard points as a Marauder, and you either have big bombs, which are really quite good at ground attack, or rockets or wing bombs again. And again, rockets are the same as the Dakar jets. In terms of firepower, you've got quad big shooters up front, 8-4 to 5+, turret big shooters, rear, right side, left side and up, and a tail gun. So you've got a decent amount of firepower in the arcs. So movement diagrams, so ace manoeuvres 1-4, it can do these 4 manoeuvres. The Marauder can do the first 6. The Dakar jet can do the first 5. You select those Marauders. I reckon things like wingovers, you'll get Eldar doing things like that, because that's the sort of thing the Eldar do. And you've got reference sheets. So you've got a reference sheet at the back, but you've also got 2 reference sheets with all the manoeuvre charts on. So that's the reference sheet in smaller font, that's the movement charts. These are definitely worth laminating. So let's have a look at what else you get. You've got 4 sets of instructions. Can't be losing them. 2, 3, 4, 5. You've got 5 sets of clear plastic poles. Counters. So 1 to 8 are the movements, tail markers, spin markers, damage markers. You've got, let's have a look at exactly what this map is made of. Okay, so this is a paper mat. Yep. Paper mat with 2-inch hexes, and that looks to be 75 centimetres across. But on it you've got printed various buildings, and on the other side it's a double-sided map, of course, with another set of scenery. So that's not too bad. And you've then got all your transfers. So that's a reasonable number of transfers. So Dakar jets, because you get 3 sets of these transfers. You've got various clan markings, Bad Moons, Evil Suns, Goths. Is that Death Skulls? Not Death Skulls. But you've also got dags to add to things, checks to add to things, because there's nothing harder than painting checks. For the Imperium, you've got various Imperial symbols. The Imperial Navy. You've got icons, you've got all sorts of little bits and bobs in both black and white, which is quite useful. So let's have a detailed look at the sprues. This is the Marauder Bomber sprue. You will notice there is an A sprue, which is the fuselage and the engines and the wings, and a B sprue, which is the weapons. Why is there a half-size B sprue? So that then you can replace it and get Marauder destroyers or other Marauder variants. So in this you've got your las cannon turrets, you've got your heavy bolter turrets, you've got all your wing ordnance, whereas For this, you've only got one of the turrets, I think. Only one turret on the body sprue. But the detail, let's zoom in on the wing panels. It's the level of detail you've come to expect from modern GW kits. You've got really, really good detail. I don't know what else to say. It looks really nice. You've got, look at these engines. So you've got your fans, you've got all sorts of panel lines that you can come back and do stuff with all over the place. You've got all these little rivets that you can come back and fill in. Yeah. On this you've got the tail part. You've also got the turrets. Yeah, you've got a lot of stuff. A lot of really good stuff. But you've got bombs, you've got missiles. That is really nice. Thunderbolts. That is the Thunderbolt sprue. You have very nice, brilliantly casted fuselages. The wings are one piece and the fuselage just drops on top. You've got your ordnance, you've got missiles, you've got bomb racks, and you've got quite a few missiles and bomb racks. You've got the choice of autocannons and Avenger bolt cannons, so you can make them up as the superior dogfighters or take the cheaper Thunderbolts. But yeah, this is all in one sprue. This is the level of quality that Aeronautica is. This is fantastic. So let's have a look at some orcs. Okay, Dakka jets, 3 per sprue. You've got 3 different wing arrangements. You have 3 different nose arrangements. You have 3 different tail arrangements. And I think from a look at the instructions you can combine them in any way you like. So that gives you a lot of Dakka jet combinations to stop them all looking the same. You've got your various ordnance here, which is fine. You've got bombs, you've got rockets. Yeah, that's fine. However, on the fighter bomber sprue, you've got bombs, you've got rockets, but you've also got more Dakka guns. So that's an extra 4 there. So that's enough to give both of these fighter bombers the more Dakka upgrade. Again, looking at this, you've got different noses. Are the fuselages the same? No, they're different. The wings are different. The tails are different as well. So it looks like you can do exactly the same thing as you can with the Dakka jets. You can vary these so that if you've got 4 of them, they don't all look the same. From reading the rules, it sets it up so that you can play battles of any size between about 50 points and about 300 points. If you're playing a 300 point battle, then the odds are you're playing with 8 to 12 planes. That'll take you 2 to 3 hours. In the box, per side, you get over 100 points. So you can upgrade Dakka jets, you can upgrade fighter bombers, and you can probably hit 120 points reasonably easily. Because you can take 4 points of ordnance on the Dakka jets to make them 20 each, and 6 points to make these 26. Ditto with the Imperial side. You can go with the Avenger bolt cannon Thunderbolts at 23, give them 4 more points of ordnance. The Marauders, you can give 8 points of ordnance to make them 31 points each, but that's an awful lot of eggs in one basket. But you can add aces for 5 points, you can add upgrades, you can probably tool both sides up to about 140 points, maybe 150. I don't recommend doing that, but that's how much you get in the box. All these planes will be available separately at launch. If you get 2 sprues in a box for the planes and they price it at about 25, then maybe it's not worth getting 2 starters. Because this sprue is the same size as an Imperial Knight sprue for Titanicus, as the Cerastus Knight sprue. If they do that, then they might have these separately, and it'll be 2 or 3 planes for say £20 or £25. If they do that, it's definitely worth getting to, because then you just swap it with a player who wants to do the other side. You've got 6 Dakar jets, you've got 4 fighter bombers, you've got no duplicates. Imperials might have 4 Marauders, 2 Thunderbolts, 2 Thunderbolt Avengers, and then you're laying down 200 points of planes. And then you pick up whatever extra stuff comes out. There will be packs with upgrade cards, they talk about it in the rulebook. There will be more factions coming out, they talk about that in the rulebook. I would love to see a Chaos Hellblade sprue with this level of quality. I'd love to see a Thunderhawk sprue with this level of quality. I'd love to see Barracudas with this level of quality, because this is phenomenally good. So that is me unboxing and going through and having a good look at Wings of Vengeance, the Aeronautica Imperialis start game. Should you buy it? My question is, should you buy 2? It's that good. I'll be putting this up for pre-order in my store on the pre-order date, same as normal, priced at £44. If I really want to put these planes together, that's really, really good. So if you've liked this video, hit like and subscribe. If you want to chat, leave a comment below. But otherwise, guys, good gaming.